Hey y'all, I'm in the mood for some homemade baked fresh sandwich bread. So I've got 2 cups of warm water. Use some spring water or some sort of, it just tends to do better and runs a little bit better. And then I'm going to use a tablespoon of this active quick rise yeast. We're just going to mix that up pretty good, and then I'm going to let it sit 5 or so minutes. Oh, and do its thing. And I'll be right back. We are back, and I'm going to start adding my other stuff. Now, normally, at this stage, I would add honey, and I don't have any honey. So I'm adding sugar. That's a 1/4 cup of sugar for this. Then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. Then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then we're going to change this attachment and put my pat or my dough hook on. So it's getting that mixed up now. This is a different recipe that I normally use. Pretty much same ingredients, different recipe. Now you could use all-purpose flour or you can use bread flour. I'm using bread flour, and I'm going to sift that. I believe this one calls for almost 6 cups. I did not measure, to be honest with you. Once you make bread a lot, you learn the consistency that you want it to be. It's just right here. We'll probably have a little bit of a mess. And we're going to put some of that on over in there. Flip it on. Spatula. Honestly, it depends on your weather. The humidity, the weather, what kind of day it is, depending on how much flour it'll actually require. Sometimes it requires more and sometimes it requires less. We're going to go ahead and add all that. My guess is that's probably a good 5 cups of flour. So we may do just a little more, I think, probably. Let's see. You want that to start pulling away clean from the bowl, and it's a long way from that. So we need to sift this some more flour. Let me give that time to pick that up. Sometimes that's deceiving. Let me grab if I find some. I know I have just a tad of that left. Yeah. Just a little bit of it left. This is butter flavoring. This is, of course, totally optional. You don't have to use it at all. I'm going to put a good couple of teaspoons in there because, well, it's butter flavoring. Which means I'll need a little more flour because we're still not pulling away yet. Oh, that smells so good, that butter flavoring. It does. Here we go. Now it's starting to do its thing and pull away from the ball. And what you want it, I want it smooth. And let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a little extra dry. And then I'm going to add just a tad bit. We'll see. We'll give it a minute. Let's see if it cleans that bowl up. Something like that. Just trying to. Just need a tad more. Not a lot. You don't want to put more than you have to because you don't want dry bread, but you want it to pull up. I don't know if you can see down in the bottom totally how that, let me show you. Let me just show you how to pick it up. Look at it. How that's not pulling up clean yet from the very bottom. You want it to pull up clean before you start with your flour. So here we go, a little more. Just till it picks all that up. And if you get too much, you can always add a tad of honey or a tad of oil. See how that's separating now in there? And I don't want it to separate. I want it to be together. We'll give it a minute and let it knead up. I'm going to add just a tad. Well, actually, that's about perfect. I'm going to give it just a wee bit of oil. I may have to get a tad more flour because I do. But I want to make it good and surely. Look good, nice, red. I'll just sprinkle a tad. Just a little bit. Hopefully I'm not making all these. I'm trying to let you see the bottom of that bowl. It's just good. It's almost perfect. And we're going to let that knead for a little bit. We'll just let the mixer knead it. It's doing pretty much all the work for you. And I'll show you, we'll do what they call a window pane test. Now we could do garlic cheese, make this a flavored bread, put everything bagel on the top. I don't know if I'll put the everything bagel on top or not yet. I could do 2 loaves. I think this makes 2 loaves. And I could do 2 small loaves or just 1 big long sandwich loaf. I may just leave it straight up plain. That way I can use it for French toast. I can make me some cinnamon toast at night. We can make garlic toast. You can use it for different things if you leave it, leave it regular loaf bread. Let's do this little, what I'm talking about, the window pane test kind of thing. I'm still going to put a little bit of extra flour in there in the bottom. But that's basically when you're just kind of, you pull it like so and make sure, see that still needs a little bit of flour. It's breaking pretty easy. Now you can't see through it, which is what you're looking for. And it needs very little flour, very little. I'm going to put that much, literally. A tablespoon or so. Just to get that off the, because it's really wanting to There we go. Try to just get it, pull it back off the side really, really good. And if you got sticky dough, you put olive oil on your hands before you pick it up to transfer it. I'm still gonna let that go for a little bit. We'll be right back. Okay, here's our dough. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil on my hands. It just makes it much easier to handle. Should pull pretty clean out of your bowl. If I'd have put a tad flour, it would have come a little bit more cleaner than that. But that's pretty good. You don't really, I mean, if you let your mixer do the work, there's not a lot of work to do. You don't have a lot of kneading to do. Now, I'm going to let it rise. I'm not going to do anything else to it. I'm going to let it rise. I've got a glass bowl right here that's greased up. I'm going to put it in here. We're going to let it rise the first time for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, at least till it doubles. However long it takes. That depends on your kitchen, the heat. I'm going to put it right in here in front of a little fireplace and it'll go a lot quicker. We'll drop it in that. We will cover it up with some saran wrap. And once it rises, we'll come back. We'll punch it. We'll knead it some more. That's when I'll really throw it around, slap it around, make sure there's no air bubbles. That's how you get the air bubbles out of it. And then we'll put it in the loaf pan for the second rise, and we'll bake it. See you soon. Okay, I'm going to grease up 2 loaf pans. I was going to do one big sandwich loaf because I've got a pan I can do that with that I had borrowed from Felicia. I need to get back to her. But I decided I'm going to do 2 separate ones because I want to try. Y'all know me, I want to experiment. I'm going to do just a plain one like I was thinking about originally. But the other one I'm going to put cinnamon sugar butter in and make like a cinnamon swirl loaf. I love that Petridge Farm cinnamon swirl. And what I really love is their banana one, but I'm going to do a cinnamon swirl one. You want to make sure you get these really good and greased up. Now, some people spray them. I like to use real thick Crisco grease, lard, something. This is butter flavored Crisco because it's just what I got in the house. So, last thing you want to do is do all that work, let it rise, and then your bread stick on you. Okay, here's our dough. She's doubled in size. Punch it down. We're going to take it out of there. Boy, it's a pretty. That's a pretty dough. Then we're going to work it a little bit. Not a ton, just a tad. I'm going to flatten it out. And then fold it a time or two. And then we're going to pick it up and bang it. And I'm going to do that several times. So I'm going to turn this off to not hurt your ears. Now I really beat that a lot, really hard. That just gets your air bubbles out. Now we want to cut this in half. So I'm not going to make one big sandwich loaf. We're going to do, here, I'll get all that on a little bit. We're going to do 2 loaves so I can do me a cinnamon one. So we'll leave one normal, and then I'll make one cinnamon one. This one will be our normal one. Now that I'll slam it again a time or two. Won't hurt y'all's ear too much. Now that we've got that like so, we'll work it a little bit like this. This one's ready because we're going to leave it plain. A lot of times I like to put like everything bagel, cheese, garlic, jalapeno. Sky's the limit. And then we're just gonna wrap that real quick. Give you a piece of, and let it rise another hour till it doubles again. So there's our one loaf. This one, I'm going to experiment with and do a little different. I've not done this with a piece of, just sandwich loaf. Yep. I don't know why you couldn't. So I'm going to give it a try, and this might be a little bit bigger loaf. And let me tell you right now, I got 2 different loaf pans, and it will actually, one of them don't brown near as pretty as the other one. One of them browns really pretty. And I think it's because one of them is thicker than the other, even though they look exactly the same. One of them's a good bit thicker than the other. Okay, for this, real quick, you want to, I'm gonna roll it out a little bit. Kind of oval, triangle, whatever you get. Shape. Circle shape, like a pizza. Okay, I'm back with the butter. Alrighty. Hopefully that's not sticking to my island with me pushing it that hard. It probably is. Here we go. Then we're going to rub it down with some butter real fast. Not a ton, because I don't want it. I need it pretty soft. To like totally mess up my bread. I just need enough for my cinnamon sugar to stick good. But not enough to keep our dough from rising good. We can always add more butter once we're finished. All right. Then we got cinnamon sugar. I guess this is basically about like I'm making a cinnamon roll. You're just making cinnamon bread. And you just gotta spread what you want to on there. I'll put a decent amount. This is cinnamon sugar mixed. It's pretty heavy on the cinnamon because I love cinnamon. Sugar and spice. And everything nice. So that's what girls are made of. Let's see, I think that's probably thick enough. I don't want to get it so thick it don't cook right. But I want a lot. So I'm going to keep trying. I think we're good. We'll drop just a little bit here and there to help. Then, I don't want to get too much because I don't want it to mess up my bread cooking. Let's do a little bit. And then I'm going to roll this one like so. Just like this. Stay. Look. It actually worked out pretty good way because it comes out longer that way. Then let's put it over in our little pan. Just squish it a little bit to get it in there. Yeah, that one's going to be a bigger loaf. About even. Gonna wrap that up. I got everything over in my way of my cloth. Wait our hour, let these double in size, then you'll pop them in a 350 degree preheated oven for about 30 minutes. And it's important, as hard as it is, to not cut them hot. If you want to use it for sandwich bread, don't cut it while it's hot, because it will get gummy if you don't eat it, unless you're going to eat it all in one night. It would be gummy the next day. Let it cool completely off. I'm going to eat this one hot, because I hope to eat it in one night. We'll be right back. Last step, favorite rose. This is the one with the cinnamon. You can tell it's a little bit neater in there because I rolled it like I did. This is the plain. I'm going to put one in my oven and one in the back oven. On 350. And we'll be back in 30 minutes. You know, I think since this one, I'm going to just sprinkle a tad across the top of it, because I can. Just a little bit of the cinnamon sugar. We'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Straight out of the oven. That should be good and ready by now. I got an air bubble on one of them. That would be this one, which is the plain loaf. Where the saran wrap touched it, and when I pulled up, it made that caused an air bubble. And this is the cinnamon sugar loaf. Gotta flip them out on this cooling rack. Real quick. Let's invert them. I hope I don't screw them up doing that. Mess them up. It's gonna they're just gonna come out of this. I don't have anything to just pick them up. Oh, ow, hurt my hand. That cinnamon's on the bottom of that one. Oh my goodness, it looks good. Let's get it over. Let's get this one out. We'll bust its air bubble. Oh, fall out of there for me. There we go. I'm gonna turn them back right side up. It's hot. And I'm gonna grab some butter. Get a little bit of that extra flour off the top. That was my glove. Got the little black spot on them. Just a little bit, so I don't want to soften it up. I want it to stay nice and crunchy and crispy. Because these are always nice and crunchy crust. Same with this one. Just drop some here and there. This one's full of the cinnamon sugar on the inside. See those black spots? That's from my glove. This. There's just a little bit of butter on this hot bread. Let me give it a minute or two to cool off. Maybe we'll slice this one, and I'll let this one cool longer, but I want to put the video up for y'all. So, I was telling you earlier in the video, if you slice a loaf, especially if you want to use it for sandwich bread, and if you slice it while it is still warm, it is delicious. And if you've got a lot of people and you're going to eat that loaf that night, go for it. Do it that way. That way you can melt your butter on it. But if you want to save it and eat sandwiches with it, you know, day, 2, 3 later, let it cool off first before you puncture it or cut it at all. And then it won't get gummy on the inside, you know, after it's been sitting for a little bit. But we're going to eat this one warm for sure. So I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to let it cool some. Let me see if I can pick one I want. Let's get a pretty picture of it. All the way around. Same, that's just an air bubble, but I'm not going to bust it yet. Gosh, this house smells so good. Nothing smells better than fresh bread baking. Okay, these are totally cooled off, but we will cut one, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the video up, and then I'll cut the other one later. But they're pretty much going to be, well, one will be solid bread, you know, and one of them is going to be a cinnamon loaf. And we'll go ahead and get that cinnamon loaf, because I want to eat it warm. Let me move that one out of my way. I've got a bread slicer that I got at Amazon. You put it through and it guides your knife. That way you get nice even pieces. But for right now, we'll just got a piece. For the camera, kind of hard to cut it on. You can see the cinnamon swirl and the cinnamon. Let me pick it up where you guys see it. Yum, yum. And it's so pretty. You see how there's no big air pockets or anything. That's from slamming it. I want to cut this one for you, but I don't want to cut it yet because I want it to stay good for several days and stay soft and not get gummy. So I'm going to let it totally cool before I cut it. But it's basically going to be the same thing without the cinnamon swirl. Now let's get us a bite real quick. Let me grab me a knife. I got some butter right behind me. Just a little bit of butter. I like the end too because I like the crust. And I'm going to get me a bite. I'm going to get all the way up here to where the cinnamon is. Look, I'll just pull it. Pull it apart. Oh my gosh, that's so good. And there's not tons in there, so it's not overly sweet. Yum, it's just amazing. I just love bread. I love fresh baked bread. And now I'm really glad that I turned it into 2 loaves. So I would already have my my snack, whatever you want to call it, for the evening. So that's my fresh baked sandwich bread and cinnamon swirl. I'll upload that so y'all can see it in a little bit, and then when I cut this one in a few minutes, I'll throw up some pictures in the story so you can see those. Good night.